So coming out of college, Jalen Carter was involved in a traffic accident that took the life of his teammate and lied to police about it. Then went on to have one of the worst pro days we have ever seen in the history of pro days. But yet there are Bear fans out there who are having second thoughts about whether or not Ryan Poles made the right decision drafting Darnell Wright over Jalen Carter. Fam, it is time to stop this ridiculous banter. Welcome to Bears Yard. This your boy Vipe, and I cannot believe we are entertaining this conversation as to whether or not the Bears should have drafted Jalen Carter. Need I remind you all, back in 2023 when this draft took place, the Bears were still in rebuilding mode. We did not have a locker room that could take on the player that was as troubled as Jalen Carter was. Not to mention the fact that everything that I alluded to in the introduction made him probably the biggest red flag in NFL draft history, if not one of the biggest. So why would you take a big risk on a player with that much trouble and character issue coming out of college when you have one of the best offensive linemen also as an option? And need I remind you, even back then, the Bears still needed offensive linemen, and still today. So drafting Darnell Wright was always the right call, in my opinion. This is some of the most ridiculous commentary I've heard recently. And if you feel the same way I do, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I'm talking Bears every Monday through Friday here. To me, this is a similar conversation that we're having right now between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had an all-time rookie season because he had a better support system in place than Caleb Williams. When we talk about how much better Jaden Daniels is than Caleb Williams, we fail to talk about Caleb Williams losing his offensive coordinator, losing his head coach, his musical chairs for an offensive line who can't stay healthy, and just the lack of stability around him in his rookie year. And did I even mention that even with all of that, he still put up 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, but we're talking about whether or not we should have taken Jaden Daniels. This Jalen Carter, Darnell Wright stuff is the same. And if you don't understand just how much that means to a young player, I'll let CHSN explain it to you better than I can.
I've seen it before. If you don't have the right teammates in place,
that's a great point.
It's not going to work out the same. And he didn't have the players in place in Chicago that could keep him in check like he did in Philadelphia.
Structure, a culture, it was there for him in Philly.
I agree. I think that's a really good point, because as much as we look at Mahomes as the one that got away, he wouldn't have had that success in Chicago. I think the same is true with Jalen Carter. You can dream and imagine what he would have been. It just wouldn't have been the same.
Walking into a room with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and you're Jalen Carter, you are at attention. These are guys who have been Pro Bowlers multiple years. Both have played over 10 years.
Yep.
You are not going to cause any problems. You're going to be in your book, and they made sure of that, and that's why he is where he is today.
So, yeah, stop looking at things in such a narrow-minded perspective and look at the entire picture. Of course, Jalen Carter is doing well. Look at the team around him. I mean, you got Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, and then you got Brandon Graham over there on defense with Nolan Smith and all those other people on defense that are absolutely balling out. It's no wonder he's having a good season. When you have a good support system in place, you're going to have a good season. Unlike Chicago, where there was no support system in place for anybody to do well. And if Jalen Carter was drafted by the Chicago Bears, he would not be doing as well as he's doing in Philadelphia. And that is just a fact. I cannot believe we are questioning a GM who not only drafted the right player, pun intended, but acquired an additional pick to draft the correct player, but we're still having second thoughts. Miss me with this crap. But if you agree or don't agree with me, be sure to leave a comment, and I got more Bears opinion for you. Check out that video right there.